Welcome back to the Black Tornado Podcast. I'm your host, Adam.
I'm Ian.
Ian was busy there for a second. It's all good. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the first episode of BTP. We're going to continue to bring you more underground metal music from all over the world. We're going to be doing special theme shows, visiting different parts of the world, and focusing on their area's music from time to time. I think that's something that is going to separate our podcast from others, is I have these ideas for theme shows.
We've got some very special ideas brewing in the background.
There's so much shit coming up. I mean, there's probably enough material right now for 8, 9, 10 episodes. So Black Tornado Podcast isn't going away anytime soon. There's so much. So thank you again. I really want to take a second and say thank you to everybody that shared the first episode. It's the best thing to do to help the show is to slap that share button, share it to your friends, post it on your Facebook wall. Within 24 hours, I actually had to put a line through this 3 times. First it said 50, then it said 60, 80 views within 24 hours. Or sorry, 70. Still, 70 views within 24 hours. That is nuts for an unheard of podcast. That's so cool.
Very happy with that. Thank you very much for everybody.
Oh, I couldn't be happier with all you guys. Our main street team guys that I gotta put their names out. Glenford, obviously. Glenford is just the best. He put it out to a bunch of people, and within an hour, I think we got 40 more followers on Facebook. Corey's helped us a ton. Matt, I mean, I could go on and on. You guys know who you are, the people that really shared it, shoved it in people's faces. This is what we want. I just wanted to say thank you guys. You guys are the oil that is the machine of Black Tornado Podcast. Just thank you guys so much. Let's get into some tunes right away, because that is, in fact, what we are. We're going to start with Embodied Torment from Sacramento, California. Rest in peace, Eric the Actor. Ack, that's where he's from. This is Tongue of Iron from their EP Archaic Bloodshed, which is available right now. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. I really like that track a lot. Really like hurricane drums. I like the guttural vocals with the screams behind it. That was really cool. I've heard a couple other bands do that, but it's really cool to kind of hear that.
That was some seriously heavy shit.
Yeah, super heavy shit. We do try to change it up a little bit, but it's a heavy metal podcast. So that's the heavy shit, that you're going to hear.
There's a lot of, like I've said to you before, there's a lot of that area of like extreme death, really, that's like proper, just full on in your face. There's a lot of that round this way. A lot of older bands from around this area, sort of 10, 15 years ago, there was a big gore grind scene around this area. Like I've told you previously, I think it's probably due to the fact that the guy that produced Napalm Death is from this area. So I think that probably influenced a lot of the bands a long time, which is obviously then influences the scene now with the bands that are around now. There's a lot of that area of metal in it.
I do want to ask real quick if anybody knows. We're looking for a good place to do no minimum t-shirts for a fair price. Please hit me up with some info, be it Facebook, email, whatever you want. Or would people rather order from a print on-site store and we can post multiple designs? It seems like it's going to be cheaper to store them at my house and then mail them out to you. The company that I've used prior for the old Black Tornado shirts, unfortunately, no longer exists, or I would go back to them. But we are looking for a place to do either small batches or no minimum orders. I'm not going to press 50 t-shirts and only sell 10.
No, nobody wants a garage full of t-shirts with their own logo on. One t-shirt's fine, maybe two, but a whole box full for 10 years is nobody's friend.
Trust me, I've still, and we'll probably give them away. I was a part of it was my thing. I had a side project that I did, and I have a box full of really nice hoodies, really good sweaters, and they didn't really sell. So at some point in the future, we'll do a giveaway, and it's a sick design. Glenford knocked it out. It's a double print. It's got design in the front, design in the back. It's a sick looking hoodie. It's just the company that I was doing at the time doesn't exist, and thus becomes harder to sell those hoodies. So at some point, Black Tornado Podcast is going to hook you up, keep you warm.
I'm sure every band knows exactly how you feel, because it's do we spend a load of money on getting 100 CDs printed?
Sure.
Because I'm sure that, I know there's bands that I know from 20 years ago that haven't been a thing for 20 years. And there's a guy who was in that band who still has a box of CDs that they printed when they were touring and nobody bought them. And he's like, mate, I've still got 100 copies of my album I made 20 years ago. Like, nobody wants. Like,
nope. And you're stuck with them. And if you're one of those bands, give them to us. We'll give them away as giveaways. Yeah. And maybe people will check out your music that way. Let's jump back right back into something. We've got The Devil's Level out of St. Louis, Missouri. This is off their album Bad Day at the Office, and the song is called Cheap Fun.
Too much alcohol and cheap fun. I'm nowhere close to being done. Too much alcohol and cheap fun. I'm nowhere close to being done. Rumbling and I'm stumbling and I'm falling down. Can't seem to get off the ground. Rocks and socks, they look good to me. Then again, I'm halfway
I love that, man. That's good drinking music. That whole album is fun. I'll send it to you, Ian. You're gonna dig it.
Yeah, definitely.
To the Devil's Level band, I want a T-shirt. I want a T-shirt ASAP. And I want to put this band into semi-regular rotation. Same way I did with Hail Shot, same way I did with Handsome Prick. If you liked the Devil's Level, good, because we're playing more. I've listened to that whole album now like twice, and I dig it, man. I dig that band.
I certainly like that. That has got some strong 90s Melodeath vibes to it. At the Gates, In Flames sort of stuff in there. That's right up my street.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. A friend of mine, Jerry, posted it onto his wall on Facebook, and I said, let me give these guys a whirl. And it's just like one of those bands, as soon as you hear them and you know you're immediately hooked. That was me with the Devil's Level. I'm like, yep, this is a band. So like I said, guys from the Devil's Level, if you're listening to this, I want a T-shirt, I want a patch, I want a hat, I want the whole...
I want it all.
Yes, send me... I'll pay for it, man. Hook me up. I want the whole package. And like I said, I want to put them into semi-regular rotation. If you like that song, again, when you go to the Facebook page, all the bands will be listed with links in order of how they were played, if they do have links. If I can't find you on a Facebook link, I will try to link the Bandcamp, which is, obviously the next best thing. Obviously that's the whole point of the show is getting you guys fans, getting you guys views. They start with us and they end with you.
And if they want to send me some stems and want a free mix of that song, I'd love to have a little crack at that one.
Oh yeah, Ian will mix it up, and
sorry, I don't do shameless promotion, but I kind of really like that song.
Well, here is the best place for shameless promotion. I don't have anything separate to promote right now, or I would. My time is 100% BTP. That's it.
Well, me being me, I have stuff to promote, but I'm not promoting any of it.
Well, no, but that's what you have me for. I'm going to promote it. You don't have to. I'm going to do it. Like, as soon as there's new Demons run, you don't have to promote it. I'll play it.
Well, funnily enough, I was thinking earlier, you mentioned at some point when we were talking either on or off the podcast, one of the bands you picked at some point you found from Missouri. I believe that may be the group that you found me on. Because, I said...
on one of the pages.
I said there was like 2 American random pages I posted on. Yeah. One of them was the Missouri metal page.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because I followed ones from every state. So, yeah, it could have been one of the Missouri pages.
There was one, and then one was called The Pit, I think. And then,
okay.
But the rest I shared were like local UK pages.
Right.
Which is why I was like astounded when you contacted me and were like, "Oh, I really like your music." I was like, "Where's this come from?"
Right. Well, it's super bizarre. I mean, and that's what's cool about Black Tornado is some of the bands I know, some of the bands I find at complete random, and the ones that I find at random, I mean, we've got bands, Japanese bands from India, bands from all over that we're going to be playing over the next however many episodes. And some of them I found just from looking around. And I'll spend hours sitting on Bandcamp.
I just want to explain to people how this podcast works, because I know you won't. I know you say you'll toot your own horn, but you won't really toot your own horn. The way this podcast actually works is Adam and myself, but mainly Adam. If your band gets on this podcast, chances are it's not because you've contacted him and you've promoted your song anywhere or you've done any work. He's found your song in the midst of all of this sea of fucking noise, and he's gone,
true.
And I really like that song. I want to play it. So I think it would be nice if he gets a thank you and some shares for that effort.
Hey, I mean, totally. If I listen to 100 songs over the course of a week, which probably isn't too far from accurate, out of those 100, I'll pull 10, 15 songs. So there's a lot of stuff that by no means am I saying is bad. I'm not going to play music that I don't like, because that's kind of it's kind of counterintuitive. I only want to play stuff that I like. And with that last band, I like that a lot. I like all the music we play. It's the whole point. I'm not going to play anything I don't like.
No. My point is like we're not one of those podcasts where we're on a PR list and we're getting emails from companies and people going, we've got local bands releasing albums. It's literally you going, I fucking love that song.
Yeah, there's nobody really. Yeah, there's no list that we subscribe to where they go, check out the next big 100 bands. I'm sitting here behind my laptop every day finding the next 100 bands that I want to play.
So bands, if you do hear your music on this podcast, just give yourself a little pat on the back as well, because what that actually means is you've written a song that a metalhead has heard in all of that noise and gone, I really want to show other people that. So
and you beat out 50 other bands that I didn't pick.
Exactly. There's a lot of music around, and there's a lot of people promoting music, but it's not always for free and for no effort. So thanks from my perspective. Thank you for playing my music, and on behalf of us, thank bands for making good music.
Absolutely. And if you do submit music to BTP, please include the name of your band with the song title and the location of your band. I don't mind emailing you back to ask for that information, but it just does help me get your music out faster and get you on to the next episode. So make sure song title, name of band, location, put that in any order you want. I don't really care. Let's see what else we got. Oh, please check out this is Instagram link. Please check out underground_metal_. Again, on Instagram for interviews with underground bands. I love this guy because he does the part of the job that I hate. I don't like doing interviews. I don't think I'm very good at them. This guy does good interviews. He did an awesome interview with Cancer Christ. Please watch it. That kid rules. I don't mean to call you a kid. I just assume that I'm older than you. That guy is awesome. So hop on over to Instagram, show them some love, and tell them that BTP sent you. Let's get back into it. We're going to head to Boston, Massachusetts. Mimesis. I fucking love this song. I love the title. Title of the song is Only in Florida. God damn, so many of these names are difficult. Wait till we get to the Philippines one. I'm gonna fuck up all over the place.
Yeah, but I think, well, for a start, the people from the Philippines are always really nice, so they won't mind. But I think they're also pretty used to it with like Indonesia and Asia. They're pretty used to people not being able to say their words and names, or even the places or anything. The food. There's another guy outside of Glenford that's been really helpful. He's another like super street team guy, and I'm gonna fuck his name up so badly, and I will apologize for that. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that one. That is some good pit music, sick fucking riffs, thick ass drums. That's the kind of band that you jump in the middle of the pit. That's good stuff. And again, Boston, Massachusetts. I went to Boston for vacation years ago, and I went to the Rock and Shock Music Festival, which, get this will blow your mind. One ticket got you entry to a horror movie convention where I met Phil Anselmo from Superjoint and Pantera. Oh, yeah. Amongst a bunch of other people. And then you left that venue, went to a different venue, and that same ticket got you in for a full metal show. I'm not talking 3 bands. I'm talking like, what were there, 9 bands? Whitechapel played. God, so many good bands there. Carniflex was there. But the headliner, this was really cool. This was the Return to Roots. So it was Max and Igor, and they played Roots from front to back. Roots! Bloody Roots! And then when they finished Roots, then they played a bunch of just, the Sepultura stuff that you know. And that was really cool. Unfortunately, that event no longer happens, so that's a huge bummer. That was at the Palladium in Worcester. It's not Worcester, because I got yelled at for that. It's Worcester. So I learned that one proper. Worcester. Let's see what else we got here. Get your horror movie fix over at Blood in the Cornfields, all one word, on Instagram and YouTube. Blood in the Cornfields, they do horror movie reviews, they do some metal, and they also do true crime in Indiana, which is where I'm from, so I think that is super cool. I have been binge listening to their stuff for the last day, and that's just a lot of fun. So again, Blood in the Cornfields, all one word. Go give them a follow on Instagram. Go give them a comment on YouTube and tell them that Black Tornado Podcast sent you. Let's see. See what else we got here. I think that's it for all the promo stuff. Let's get back into it. Ian's going to introduce our next band. Right, guys. This is my first selection for the Black Tornado podcast. This is a Wellingborough-based UK band. They've been around for a little while. They are an amazing band, long history. Neil, the guitar player, is a really good guy, runs a studio near here, who's fucking putting out some amazing stuff. So if you want to check out his studio, go to Initiate Audio and Media. This is a song from their 3rd album, Worldwide Negative. Their 4th album is coming out on the 31st of May, so get ready for that. Put it in your pre-orders and all of that shit. This is Zero Sum Game by Chris Thiller.
Poisoning everyone's minds like a venom.
Yeah, that was sick, man. And I'm really happy that that you've started putting your music in. That's another really cool thing. One of the many reasons why I wanted Ian to be a part of the show is that we could get music that he's aware of in the UK, and then obviously mix it with bands in the US. But we go everywhere. I mean, one of the bands that we played, where did we come from? Oh, well, that's coming up. So just wait a second. But we've had music from all over. Like I said in the first episode, I don't care if you're in a hut in the middle of nowhere on the other side of the planet. If you're bringing sick riffs, we're going to play you.
The internet has no bounds.
No, and that's the coolest thing. I mean, could you imagine trying to do this podcast in like the 80s? How difficult it would be?
Fuck me, 10 years ago this would have been a nightmare. Like I would, well, speaking from experience, 10 years ago, I had internet that was essentially like sending electric signals through a sausage. It was fucking awful.
Sure.
And like, if you're talking 20 years ago, well, just over 20 years ago when I was at school, I genuinely remember we used to go to the computers in the library at school, and like, if you wanted to download a picture, nobody had got a computer at home, and you go, fuck it, I'll spend my lunchtime printing pictures up to put on my wall.
Right.
But you'd press the picture and you'd literally leave for 20 minutes and just leave the picture loading.
Yeah, and come back and hope it was done.
Yeah.
A funny thing, and I did want to mention this at some point. Now is as good a time as ever. So back like 15 years ago, there was a website that doesn't exist anymore. It was very similar to, if you know, the Metal Archives. Metal Encyclopedia, I mean.
Yeah.
Familiar with Metal?
Was it Encyclopedia Metallicum or
that's
something?
That's it.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with that, it was kind of similar to this. All the music was free for download, but it was all underground bands, most of them not from the U.S., a lot from the Philippines, a lot from Russia, a lot from just anywhere not near me, not even UK.
No, I think I seem to remember getting a lot of, this is probably 10 or 12 years ago now, but when I was first getting into gent and I hate using that word as an area of music, the sort of percussive, rhythmic, progressive metal. Oh God, that's a mouthful. But when I started getting into that, I found a load of like unknown albums and bands on that website. I was just doing research into bands, and then people had mentioned an album that they thought was amazing. So I'd look it up and I'd find them on that website, and then find a link to their album and download it for nothing. And yeah, it's a good website, that was.
Sure. I mean, I was getting to the point where I wasn't listening to, and when I say the word commercial, I just mean bands that we all know. Lamb of God, Devil Driver, Guar, bands like that. I was spending so much time listening to these underground bands that no one had ever heard of, because you could download the whole album for free. I would burn it, because I was fortunate enough to have a CD burner. And on my Walkman, I was listening to bands from, Portugal, all death metal, all really heavy stuff. And I was doing that when I was middle school, early high school. And I never thought that I would be promoting bands like that. I mean, a lot of those bands were the bands that would today be featured on Black Tornado Podcast.
It's obviously always been your thing. It is not necessarily like the radio heavy playlist stuff, which is fine. Like, it's good.
Sure. I listen to the radio every once a year.
But they're just separate scenes. Like the people who go to mainstream metal gigs, like for instance a Metallica or a Trivium or something like that, where they're going yeah, exactly, like they're still equally valuable metalheads. It's just a different scene. Like, you don't tend to find people who are into unsigned bands and going to bars and gritty places where it's 6 bands you've never heard of and you're just chatting to them afterwards. They're a different kind of fan.
And even going to concerts and stuff, I would always arrive early, because whether I liked them or not, I was always really interested in checking out the opening bands, because these bands today might, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, might headline for the next group of the smaller bands that are just trying to come out. And again, I've said it, I'll continue to say it. The whole point of the podcast is to give you guys listeners. That's the whole point. And so one day when you guys blow up, you can say, thanks, Black Tornado Podcast. Hey, Handsome Prick did it on their second record. Grab that album, open up the book. It says, thanks, Black Tornado Podcast. It's probably my favorite accomplishment thus far.
You deserve it. Like, you put a lot of work into putting this podcast on. Before I joined, we've talked about on the first episode, I was a listener of this podcast, and I found this podcast through you finding me. So,
sure. I mean, that's the whole point, man, is share it to one person listens, and before you know it, I mean, I was going to get into it later, but we might as well get into it now. Make sure to come back in 2 weeks. We do plan on doing episodes every 2 weeks. So come back in 2 weeks, and we're gonna grab a little slice of the Philippines. We're doing an all Philippines episode, a lot of gore grind. So if that's your cup of tea, do not miss this episode. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be the start of us occasionally focusing on one location, one demographic, and really putting the magnifying glass to them. And I'll tell you what, since I put that into people's ears, the emails have been flooding with bands submitting music to be on the Philippines podcast episode. So thank you to all of the bands that have submitted stuff. If we usually do a tight 5, which I seem to feel is a good number. If we don't get to you this time, it doesn't mean that we won't get to you next time. It all gets downloaded, it all gets saved on our hard drive, so it's all there. So
and there's plenty of podcasts to come. So
we're doing this for a hot minute. This is not going to be, I think the original Black Tornado ran for, I want to say 9 episodes. And I can say with absolute certainty, I mean, we're going to go so far past 9, it's not even crazy. One day, years from now, we're going to be celebrating our 100th episode. This isn't going away.
I personally can talk and not shut the fuck up forever about music and bands. So as long as there's somebody to listen to, I'll keep talking. We
both agreed that as long as we at least get 5 viewers, we're going to keep going. And even if 3 of those viewers are me,
exactly, we get 5 viewers and they're guaranteed 2 listeners. So
that's
deal.
Right. That's enough. Hey, if we help you guys sell 1 T-shirt, 1 ticket, 1 digital download, then we're not going to stop.
No, exactly. That's entirely the point. I mean, I know we joked about it before, but if one person shares it, it's 1 new fan somewhere else. Somebody is going to see more people. The more people that see it, the more chance there is somebody's going to like it. So
sure. I mean,
thank you. Thanks to everybody for listening, but also just share it, because sharing
is the biggest thing that helps the show. We're going to have these little merch packs coming out. There's a big cartel store set up. I'll put links out and I'll talk about it once the store's up, where you can buy these little merch packs that support the podcast, just kind of help us out. But the biggest thing is just sharing in general. And we've seen the power in the last 2 weeks of sharing. We've seen the numbers go from 2 views to 80 plus views. The Facebook literally went from 0 to like whatever it is now, like 50 or 60 or something. We've seen the potential where this can go. And we're going to ride this train until the fucking wheels fall off. Like, this ain't stopping. And with that in mind, we're going to jump into our 5th and last band for today's episode. We're going to Thunder Bay, Ontario. We're going to check out VHS. This is Growing Pains from their album, The New Batch.
Fire,
Beautiful link there. Seamless.
VHS is super sick. I love everything about this band. I love their whole aesthetic of taking all the stuff that I grew up with and making it their imagery.
There's some real groove in that. Like,
I love the riffs. I mean, super catchy guitar riffs. That's a fun band.
Definitely.
And I feel like maybe I've heard them before. So if they're not as underground as I think they are, I apologize. But you're welcome if you have a couple extra views, because that could happen too.
Yep.
Well, I'm happy everybody came back for episode 2. Come back for episode 3. We're heading to the Philippines. That's going to be super cool. I am currently trying to find Philippines beer, and I think I know a place that's about an hour away. And this week I am going to drive to this tiny little market that is apparently a Filipino grocery store. And I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that they have some Filipino beer. So come back in 2 weeks and join us for that. I have been your host, Adam.
I've been Ian.
And thank you again very, very much for hanging out with us. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Take care.